Villains, gangsters, or faces as they prefer to be called, are the people that have been making newspaper headlines for all the wrong reasons over the past 50 years.
You play, you get hurt. Simple.
Some are instantly recognisable, but many are not.
If you have the name done, that's it, you're finished.
In this second series, some of those involved in the Underworld's most infamous crimes have agreed to go on camera to tell how things happened and why.
I'm an old man now, but I can shoot and stab as well as anybody else.
My name is Bernard O'Mahony. I was a friend of the Cray twins and a key member of the Essex Boys firm.
And everyone seems to think that I had something to do with the actual killings of them when they actually got killed in the Range Rover. And this was something that Damon tried to impress. He wanted to be like that.
I know this world, I know these faces, and I am going to take you on a journey into the heart of the Underworld.
I'm shackled to a chair, battered, guns out of my head constantly. Just 3 days of non-stop beatings and torture.
But he's not dead now.
He's not dead. He's not dead. Yet.
This guy always finishes on top.
We cling to the past because we fear the future. Fashion, families, gangsters, and even the Lord's gospel. Little can ever be as it was. Only human frailties remain intact. Our ability to wreak havoc, inflict pain, and justify our abhorrent behaviour is timeless. Love, honour, and loyalty shall always remain our greatest excuses. The Joyces are Irish travellers who are known throughout the country and beyond as fighting men. Since birth they are spoon-fed the importance of family honour. For generations the noble art of bare-knuckle boxing is all they have lived and breathed. But even their brutal world is changing.
We used to all sit around a campfire, they'll all have a drink and they'll laugh, this, that and the other, and if someone's got a problem, they'll go out, have a fight. Do you know what I mean? And the next day, what's now the best of mates again? He says that's the way it used to be, but now it's guns, knives, this, that and the other, fucking arsoning.
And why do you think that's changed?
Because the best half of them has got no loyalty or respect no more. When my grandfather Dudlow, that's me mummy's father, yeah, he was one of the roughest men in the country. That man, well-respected man, and the man has never been beaten in his life. That man could fight for fun, and the man was a well-respected man up and down around the country, and that was my grandfather. Proud man, and I'm proud to say that was my grandfather. And for my father's father, yeah, exactly the same. He was known as the Bull, David Joyce. The man was a quiet man. He'd love his drink, this, that, and the other. We'll get on the wrong side of him. The man is as strong as an ox. The man will fight. He'd rather not fight, but if you want to fight, that man will fight anybody. And every time that man's fought, he's never been beaten either. So it was two good men. There's not a Joyce I don't know that can't fight, or doesn't look for a fight, or won't fight. They just got fight in them.
Unlike the scenes we witness in towns and cities every Saturday night where gangs of drunken youths kick lone youths senseless, all disputes within the travelling community are settled in controlled bare-knuckle bouts. Those fighting can opt for a straight go, which is fists only, or a dirty go, meaning there are no rules.
You want it all done proper. I said it because two people that's going to be fighting is going to be arguing on the phone. Let him have he's a negotiator. Let me have my negotiator. Let them two come to agreement, two proper men that the words are going to be took for. Do you know what I mean? Sort it out, get the time, the date and the place. Let him be in one place, I'll be in another place. He gets tucked into a car, I get tucked into a car. We go and meet up at this place. One fella recording it, yeah, and then let them both have the best of fair play. A dirty goal fight is, how can I put it? It's all in, everything's in. You fight, you want to fight that person, you can bite, punch, kick, do what you've got to do to be a winner. That's it, end of story. And if things are going too far, then whoever's standing there, it's down to them to stop the fight. But that's a dirty goal, everything's in, there's no rules. And that's it, end of story. There's only going to be a winner coming back or whatever you draw.
And shake hands after?
Shake hands after, and that's it, end of story.
And the feud's forgotten?
And the feud's forgotten.
In August 2010, the Joyce family became embroiled in a bloody feud with their cousin, fellow traveller turned media celebrity Paddy Doherty. As with all disputes, both parties give different accounts of its origin. But what is not in dispute is the fact that Doherty broke the Travellers' Code and reported the Joyces to the police, rather than settle their differences in the traditional manner.
I don't normally speak to the media. Do you know what I mean? This is just to put the record straight. And it'd be the first time and the last time. At the end of the day, Paddy Doherty's had his say, and there's two sides to every story. Margaret McDonagh, it was her funeral. Give her a good bed in heaven. That woman, it was her funeral, and it all started from that day. Went to back to the pub afterwards. Everyone's getting on, happy. But no, you just get that feeling something's not right. Turn back around, there's freedom unconscious. Gone back over, this fella is going off his head, because I'll tell you exactly who the fella was. It's Paddy's son-in-law, John the Jigger. He was knocked out. Two other fellas was left injured. Yeah, and then Paddy's come running out of nowhere, grabbed Johnny by the neck, saying, right, this, that and the other, who the fuck do you think you are? You want a proper man, you want to fight this, that and the other. Johnny's bounced Paddy off the fruit machine. So when he's bounced Paddy off the fruit machine, yeah, Johnny said, do you want to fucking fight, Paddy? He says, get outside. You could see the fear in his eyes that he didn't want to fight. Gone outside, I'm sat there with Johnny. I said, look, I'm not letting this fight happen. This is when we all got on. Everybody's happy, family, this, that and the other, everyone's got on. So respect-wise, our man thought, not letting this happen. We're all family here. I said, I know you don't want this. Yeah, Johnny, he was just going off his head because he's very hot-tempered. He was like that, come on, jumping around, this, that and the other. So John Harris has had to grab a hold of Johnny, pull Johnny to one side, calm him down. I'm talking to Paddy at another side. So that was it then. We talked about it, sorted it out, they hugged, kissed, whatever, the way they do things. Back to the pub, everything was happy.
Paddy Doherty, who had boasted on television that he was a bare-knuckle champion who bit his victims and swallowed the parts he chewed off, was embarrassed to say the least. 2 weeks later, he lured 21-year-old Johnny Joyce to a traveller's site and began threatening him.
I was out on a Friday night with my mates head and that, having a few drinks. Paddy comes walking in with his cousins and a few others, because they couldn't get into another club, so they come in there. He's ended up getting me to go back to East, and I've just got a load of beer in that in, but just kept asking, so I've ended up going. Got a taxi to his son Martin Tom come out, and I heard Paddy whispering to his worksman. And then I walked back around and started talking again, and he starts bringing up 20 odd years ago about my grandfather, Douglas Ward, how him and his brothers got my grandfather drunk, pretending him had left home, bet him to death with bars and I killed him. And then try and call me father a tramp, this, that, I'm gonna kill you, this and that. Fair enough, boom, jumped up, gave him a rap, knocked some spark out, stood over him, and I punched his brains in. And I was wanted for attempt murder.
Punched his brains in is something of an understatement. Doherty was left close to death, drowning in his own blood. He suffered 7 fractures to his jaw, 12 stitches in his upper lip, 2 black eyes and a number of cuts and bruises to his face and throat. Whilst Doherty lay in hospital fighting for his life, his sons were on the phone to the Joyces, demanding a fight to iron matters out.
Simple Simon, he was being civil on the phone, he was being nice, this, that and the other. Right, Dougie, we'll fight, we'll have a few clouts, we'll shake hands after it. So I said, that's not a problem, Simon. He said, now that you've said it, I said, you got to fight. I said, end of story. I said, the argument's not between me and you. I said, but now you've involved yourself. I said, I understand. I said, it's your father. I said, and it's the way us travellers deal with things. I said, we'll fight. End of story. The other fella, the fella, Blinky Bill, I call him, David Doherty, Paddy's other son. But up or down, he didn't want a fair go with Johnny. He wanted to have a dirty go with Johnny. I was going to fight Simon, Simple Simon, and Johnny was going to fight Davey. He was going to have a dirty go, I was going to have a fair go.
But then they said no fights are going ahead.
So they said no fights.
I've got to get what his father got. I said, I'm going to be some square fool to stand there and let you do what I done to him.
And this is how simple he is. I'm telling you word from word now, Bernard. Yeah. He asked me, he said, right, Dougie, this is the only way it's going to be sorted now. We're not going to fight. Yeah. If this doesn't happen, we're going to take it to level 2. Yeah. So I said, level 2. I said, all right. Then I said, go on, tell me what you want. He goes, we'll come meet you. He said, but Johnny has to get what my father got. He's on the other phone to Johnny Joyce from Middleton. No. Johnny said, look, are you coming down to fight these boys? They're standing here. And I'll tell you, another man that come down, he was standing there also, was Wayne Barker. God give him a good bed in heaven. He was standing there with one of his mates, and another man that come down, a good friend of mine, Chasey Burton. He came down, he was there to watch the fights and everything that was going on, because it was a spare of the moment thing, do you know what I mean? Going down, have the fight with them, and that was it, end of story. That's the way we believed it was going to happen. Went down there, they wouldn't show up, which, that's how it just kept escalating from there, Bernard.
Johnny Joyce was charged with causing Paddy Doherty grievous bodily harm. When the matter came to trial, members of the Doherty family gave evidence against Joyce, and that caused outrage within their community. Joyce was found not guilty after notorious Underworld figure Paul Massi agreed to give evidence against his former friend Paddy Doherty.
I done 6.5 months in remand in jail and ran trial. He stood up in the dock, him, his wife, his son Davey. The policeman stood up, and I got a walkout, self-defence. Found not guilty on both.
And the jury seen straight through Paddy. And then it looked like a jockey court. Do you know what I mean? Paul Massi comes in to give evidence against Paddy, saying, Paddy, you're wrong for what you're doing. Paddy was in a motor with Paul Massi, in a Jeep, going for a cruise, doing whatever they were doing. Paul Massi told me out of his own mouth. Yeah. What's the story with you and your cousin, Johnny Joyce? He goes, I'm getting him locked up. I'm going to teach him a lesson that he can't do what he can do to me and think he can go around people and get away with it. Paul said, what? He said, what is it? Pull the motor over. He said, are you being serious, Paddy? He said, yeah. He said, I'm going to get him locked up, he said, if you're being serious, then get out of my Jeep. He said, what's up? I said, I can't be mixing around with the likes of you. He said, I'm only joking, man. He said, obviously I'm not going to do that. No, man, Sham. That's Paddy for you.
Various attempts were made to arrange a deciding bout between the warring families. The first was by Manchester villain, the late Wayne Barker, who was raised and accepted by travellers. He offered to put up £50,000 prize money and stage the fight at a football stadium, but the Dohertys ignored the offer. Another attempt to settle the feud was when the Joyces and the Dohertys arranged to meet and fight on a car park in Middleton. Over 200 travellers arrived to witness the gladiatorial encounter, but so too did armed police who were supported by 2 helicopters that had been scrambled. 3 guns were seized and 11 arrests were made.
Went in a big tribe. There was me with 25 carloads behind me of my friends and people behind me. There was loads of people there, do you know what I mean, all over just to see this fight, because there's been that much talk about it. They wanted to see it happen and finally get over and done with. Obviously the police got tipped off. We all know where the phone call come from, which was Paddy and that and the family, and we all got locked up. Out of 200 people, 11 people got arrested.
And what did the police arrest people for? What did they find?
They found a few things, and then a couple of them got arrested. A couple of cars got found with a couple of men in it.
Guns and
that, yeah.
Yeah.
Sawed-off shotgun was taken, a star 9, and the rest machetes and that. And
there was different cars, like weapons found in the cars. 2 people got serious jail out, which was my cousin, like I told you before, Dougie Ward. He got 5.5, and a good friend of mine, John Heenan, he got 3.5 years out of it. Every time we've gone to go and meet them, we get locked up. Do you know what I mean? It's always a setup. It's like getting us to come to a point where it's always a setup. Every time we've gone to fight these, it's always a setup. We always get arrested of it. I can't tell you one time that we haven't gone where we haven't been arrested.
On the afternoon of June the 10th, 2011, Doherty was out jogging when the Joyce Brothers passed by in a car. After an exchange of words, Doherty challenged Johnny Joyce to a fight.
So we was at the traffic lights, and I looked across the road like that and I said, Johnny, please. I said, look who it is. Johnny, he just sat there in the car, not thinking nothing of it. And there he was, doing his little run, do you know what I mean, looking at us. So we looked at him and started laughing at him, do you know what I mean, not getting out to do anything with him. And he starts calling names, this, that, and the other side of the road. I said, Paddy, I can't hear you. I said, if you've got something to say, so come over and say it. So he crosses over the road, comes over to us. Johnny jumps out of the car, so I jumped out of the car, because obviously I didn't want them fighting in the middle of fucking too many people there, do you know what I mean? Jumped out, walked over, and he's the way he talks and the way he carries on, trying to give it all them out. I said, Paddy, I said, look, carry on with your run, jog on for yourself. I said, you're an old man, you're a sausage. I said, jog on for yourself. Yeah. Oh, you want to fight him? I've been training 12 months for him. I'm ready for him now. I said, Johnny, I said, get back in the car. I said, you're not fighting this man. Yeah. Johnny goes back to the car. Now, Paddy tries pushing past. I said, Paddy, I said, if you want to, I said, go on. Yeah. Goes over to the car. Johnny's in the car. I said, Paddy, fuck away from me. I said, I warned you last time, go away from me. Slams the door off his leg. Yeah. So he's lost his temper, jumped out. So come on then, Paddy. And as Paddy's come towards him, what's now? He was like, there, wasn't now, oh, this, that, I'm ready for you now. You're not going to get me off guard. No, like this all bullshit talk. Johnny hit him a crack. As he hit him a crack, the man was like he was taking a seizure on the bonnet of my car. So I thought, oh, yeah. I said to this fella, I said, stop, because he was ready to hit him again. As you can see the video clipping, when you look at the video, it's me who was recording it, and you look at him, he's got a big thick line of blood running on his face. As you see the line of blood running on his face, that was that was exactly what happened before the camera come on. Because the reason why I recorded it, and I'll make this clear now, the first time, when Paddy got a hiding inside his sight, he got a good going over, he said, bye my brother, yeah? He got Johnny locked up for attempt murder. He run the whole trial. Paddy run all the trial right to the end, section 18, section 20. So I thought, right, I'm not taking no more risks. So do you know what I mean? I pulled out the phone, let them start recording. I said, Johnny, I said, let the man fucking throw a few punches back at you, make it look like a bit of a fight. So when they both went to the floor, Paddy tried biting Johnny in the nose. That's why he got his ear ripped off. And if it wasn't for me, Paddy knows this himself, I split them both up yeah? Push Paddy one side, that side, and Paddy would sound, oh, you call this fair play, this, that and the other. What's that? When I pushed him to one side, Johnny was over there, I said, Paddy, I said, you asked for it. I said, you're the one that opened your big pig's mouth, I said, on the floor. I said, trying to bite somebody. He said, you're the one that's supposed to be on about fair play, fighting. I said, Johnny's tripped and what's that? You're open tough on trying to bite him. I said, what's up with you? Do you know what I mean? So I started calling him loads of names and he was saying this, that and the other, as you can see in the video. But that explains that part of the video.
The police were called and the Joyces were arrested shortly afterwards.
We got brought to the police station and Section 18, Section 20, both of us was charged with it. Monday, we go to jail. My father's come down, obviously, to see what's going on with the courts, this way and that way, and fucking, obviously, where his son's at the end of the day is coming in to see what's going on. My father's not no big killer, not no big fighting man, but he won't back down from a man neither. Do you know what I mean? The man's got a lot of pride in himself. He goes in, and it's only him and my mother there, yeah, and my wife, Sophie. They've come out. As they come out of the... my father's talking to the solicitor right outside the front of the courts. Simey is come from the side, and David, Martin Tom, yeah, and Mush, yeah, I know exactly who yous all are, yeah. What's now laid a punch, what's now on my father, hit him from the side, start attacking him. So when my father's gone down, yeah, this is a man with a bad heart going in for a quadruple bypass, yeah. They all attack my father, but see how people don't know about all that stuff, that people don't get mentioned, yeah. They all attacked my father, kicking him when he was down.
When the Joyce brothers were released from prison, they were still outraged about the attack on their father. Rather than offer resolutions that had already been turned down, they rang Paddy Doherty and told him that he would have to leave Manchester.
We get out of jail, rang up Paddy Doherty on the phone, yeah, said, see you, soft boy, I said, you sausage, I said, who's this, I said, you know exactly who it is, Grass, yeah, you got 48 hours, get yourself out of Manchester. I said, get your shitty home and get out of Manchester. This, that and the other. I said, I'm giving you 48 hours, I said, oh, that's it. Anyways, down with the phone, he's trying to get family to kiss arse, ring up, this, that and the other. We give him the 48 hours, it was in the paper and you can check the paper for verification, yeah. His Shelley was on the back of a load loader on its way to Queen's Ferry. The next morning, as soon as he woke up, it's back on the load loader and it's gone up to Queen's Ferry. We give him 48 hours to get out of Manchester and he knows we put him out of Manchester and everybody in the country knows that we put him out of Manchester. That man was living like a king inside Salford side, Dutchy Road, like he's this, that and the other. Wasn't no much of a king when he got put out of Manchester by two brothers.
Just when it looked as if matters had been resolved, the Joyces discovered that one of their relatives had been passing on information to the police in support of Doherty. This caused divisions amongst the Joyces, and many feared there was going to be an all-out war. When an 18-month-old child died in a tragic accident on a traveller's site, the Joyce brothers attended the funeral to pay their respects. Paddy Doherty also attended and caused a mass brawl involving machetes and knives after spitting at one of the men carrying the child's coffin.
He spat what's now at the man while he's walking in with the child in the casket. That's what kind of tramp he is. What's now, he was told not to come to the funeral. He wasn't wanted there. He wasn't welcome there. But he made it his own business to come to that funeral. It's all kicked off then. People getting chopped and people getting this and this, that and the other. Child's been buried. They had to rush the funeral to get the child buried. Now, which is sickening. Do you know what I mean? It's disgusting what happened in that graveyard. They had to rush to the funeral with the priest, get the child buried and get it over and done with. We've come in, like I said, man of my word, when the child's been buried, we'll come in. We've come in, we've walked into the graveyard and they've had like a little army of them. Yeah, didn't faze us. Ripped our tops off and said, come on now, boys. They're all doing all the shouting, all this, that and the other. The women was doing more shouting than them from Middleton. Do you know what I mean? Because they're the one with the bigger balls, you see. They're doing all the shouting, this, that and the other. I said, do you know what, boys? I said, Tommy, I said, step to me. One, he's just stepped to me. I said, we'll both have it now. I said, step to me. They're hiding behind gravestones, yeah, and police. They try saying, police is this, come, and the police was already inside that graveyard. The police was already there when we got there. So obviously, when we come to the graveyard, we didn't give a fuck about them. We showed up, showed our face. We said we was coming, so we come. So when we come to that graveyard, they didn't do nothing about it. They're all doing all the shouting, all this, that and the other, and they didn't do fuck all. We stood there, stood our ground, and not one of them stepped to us. We had to go out the graveyard over the police. The police escorted us and said, look, out. This fella gets blocked in coming out the graveyard. I've had to get out the graveyard. And that's how that happened inside the graveyard.
And was there people there with machetes?
There's people there with machetes. Few people got a few chops. Few people got a few marks. And things got a bit out of hand.
The most recent attack was on Johnny Joyce. A group of machete-wielding men attacked him as he was drinking alone in a pub.
Fellas walking with machetes all bellied up. Walked in the other room, and they walked in the other room where I was. 16 of them with all machetes. And as I turned around, he looked at me, but looked at me again and went for my head with machetes, so I moved out of the way, started fighting back with them. But there's only one way I could go, to the toilets behind me. So I'm making my way back, but not letting them get behind me, fighting back with them. Then as soon as I got near the door, turned around quick and started fighting with them between the door. And I eventually got the machete off one of them and they cut my finger off. And then fucking started fighting back with them, and then I just got myself in the toilet and locked myself in.
It's impossible to say if, when or how this feud may end. The likelihood is it never will. Like a life-threatening hereditary ailment, travellers pass on their feuds to their children, who pass it on to their children, and so it goes. A chain of hatred that can never be broken.
I can't see it ending until youth.
No.
Next generation's going to come up and it's just going to keep going on it.
Going to keep going on generation to generation.
And is that common in the travelling world? If your father had a problem with a family, you
and then he'll carry it on, and his son will carry it on. The way it is now, do you know what I mean? They're all getting old. We're the young ones. Do you know what I mean? What's now? I'm only 26 years of age. He's 24. I've got 7 brothers behind me. And then plus I've got 3 sons of my own, 2 sons and 1 on the way. So obviously you can just imagine, can't you, it's just going to keep coming. They're getting old now. Not one of them's under the age of 30. You know what I mean? I think the youngest one's 30. Yeah. And we've got all that behind us, and then plus all the young ones coming up again. So it's just going to probably just keep going on, unless one of them had the balls to stand forward and say, look, this is getting out of hand. How can we solve it? Do you know what I mean? It's gone that far where they're killing each other. Do you know what I mean? It's not, like I said to you, it's not like the way it used to be. And I don't think I'll ever go back to that way. That was the old days, out with the old, in with the new.
From singing around campfires to attempting to murder one another over a trivial dispute, times have certainly changed for the travelling community, but they are not alone. We all change over time, and seldom for the better. The oldest outlaw motorcycle club in Europe is the Blue Angels, who are based in Glasgow. They were founded in 1963 by friends Billy Gordon and Alan Morrison. Their teenage dream of rebellion and nonconformity, which was shared by many, has evolved into outlaw motorcycle gangs, such as the Mongols, the Outlaws and the Hells Angels. The National Crime Intelligence Service claims that motorcycle clubs are responsible for more assaults and murders than any other organised group in the country.
I met this guy, Billy Gordon. Me and him became really close. He brought a couple of his pals down. I knew a couple of guys and we all just kind of started running about together. You couldn't wait to see them. There was a right bond, you know, and at the start I know there was a lot of brothers and cousins, and that made another bond, you know. Some of the guys were going, we need to get a name. There was all sorts of names thingied up, you know, and it was one day we were doing the lockup in Maryhill, messing about with the bikes, and we started talking about a name a couple of us know. I said, we could paint our tanks blue, call ourselves the Blue Angels, yeah. I said, we'll put that to the boys in the cafe, see what they think. So everybody we asked, what do you think, what do you think? After about a week or a fortnight, they all agreed. So I went away and got a tattoo out in Falkirk. Me and Stone and Spar, I went and got it the same day, you know. And but they weren't compulsory, the tattoos now. Now they've got them all their heads and everything, you know, and the numbers just built as the years went. And a lot of bikers were having problems with the street gangs. And they knew that we fought back, so they came and joined us. Because you either had to fight with these guys or change your lifestyle altogether, gear up your bike, you know. Buy a wee cloth cap and a Morris Minor or something, you know, and tune in, you know. But so we decided to fight. Before us, there was a gang called the Men, yeah. And they were wild guys, you know, 50s and all that. And they were just phasing out as we started appearing, you know. And a lot of them get killed with a drink and just driving mad, you know, pure madness up near the wee roads in Scotland, you know, the Lochside and all that. In Glasgow, you had a gang called Road Burners for Knightswood, quite a few of them. And we went and spoke to them and they joined us. So all these other gangs were coming and joining us into Maryhill and wanted to run about with us, and they all changed, dropped their names and became Blue Angels now.
Gangs have been synonymous with Glasgow since the 1800s. The poverty, squalor and terrible overcrowding of the city led to a harsh, indifferent attitude to life and self-preservation.
In the 60s it was all just battling, you know, bottles and tumblers and battling. There was guns there, but they were kept very quiet. They never came out really. We had problems with nearly every street gang in Glasgow, you know, because we were different. And a lot of your guys wore German badges, you know, Nazi badges on their jackets. And that caused most of the fights. Because you're in a pub and some guy would go like, "Ah, you wearing that badge for they killed my dad, they killed my fucking uncle, no, they raped my mammy," or something like that, no, and we're going, "Shut up, give peace." But they want to kill you because you're wearing these badges, you know what I mean? So that, they caused a lot of fights, you know, the badges.
As the reputation of the Blue Angels grew, they were asked to provide security for touring rock bands, but their only interest was touring the UK on their bikes and living their unorthodox lives to the full.
We done with security for some of the bands away back in the old days, like say the Who, Small Faces and Colosseum and the Kinks and the Kelvin Hall, and we'd done a lot of that, but you had to conform to be there on a certain date and all that. We weren't into going, "I will be there," and we were wild boys, we were out to play, man, and we didn't want to be there. I know we blew it with could have made an awful lot of money out it, you know. But some of the guys are still kind of dabbling in that shit, you know. I was 63, and we used to go to the border, and Fair Friday, the Glasgow Fair, everyone kind of shut down. You know, everybody, all the building sites, everybody's on holiday. So we used to use that to get away the runs, as we started calling them, you know. We used to go to the border for the better weather, and the English women were nice, you know, and things, you know. Pickings were good, pickings were good. We used to go to Scarborough to the bike racing, Oliver's Mount. We met guys there for the North England. The Sheffield's chapter started first, and then the Leeds chapter, you know. And we had a chapter in London as well, but it didn't last because they were a bit too far away and they weren't prepared to fight for the patch, you know.
Patches are the cause of much violence between motorcycle gangs. Your patch tells the world that you are a valued member of a particular brotherhood that cannot be bought into. Once given, a patch can never be loaned or sold, and most owners claim that they would rather die than allow it to be taken. In 1971, a London-based biker known as Buttons was deemed to have broken the biker code when he claimed in a book that the patches he wore were given to him by the New York Angels.
We went down to dig his buttons up because of the book he wrote, because we thought it was all this shite. I think he declared himself a Hells Angel or whatever. I don't know his full story, but he said he got his colours off of guys from New York, Hells Angels from New York. And then we spoke to him, 5 minutes talking to the guy. We were like, "He's not a biker, he's a kid-on guy." So we treated him like a kid-on guy, gave him a hard time. He came to the bike show, he was in Earls Court or something, and he's on the way to a phone, and he's phoned up Wolverhampton, I think, Bristol, maybe Windsor. He's phoned them all up and said that we were doing to beat them all up, to attack them all. We weren't. We were just doing to talk to him. They all met in an all-night garage, and they all came down to this house we were all sleeping in. And we outnumbered them that night, you know. But we didn't know we were going to get attacked, but when we did realise we were going to attack, we fought back. But the CID came, and one of the CID had a Glasgow accent. So that stopped me in my tracks when he started talking Glasgow to me. And he tell us straight, we have to keep you talking. He said, "What you have done so far, it's 2 years from mobbing and rioting." He said, "We have to keep you talking to the wooden tops come," he says, "the reinforcements, no." He says, "So you better just get to." I said, "We're going to go." I said, "But we want to get back in here and say cheerio, you know." And I said, "A couple of our jackets and that are in there." He says, "We'll get your jackets." I said, "No, we'll get them, you know." You know, if somebody tries to tear it off me, they'll need to kill me or leave me pure unconscious, you know. Simple as that. I'm not going to take it off and give it. It's a part of my life. The next day we all met at this square. We were all there except my best pal, Stone. He jumped out a window. Rather than let the Hells Angels get a grip of him, no. He fired his cell out the window and he turned his ankle and went to the hospital. Well, in the days there were no mobile phones on it. We didn't know where the hell he was. London's a big place. So reluctant to, I didn't want to leave him. but I had to leave him. So we all went away, took our time up at Carlisle, cut across into Ashington, with friends there and that, Bedlington and all that there. And then we came back to Glasgow, you know. The problem was the Sheffield guys. Because we were fighting with the Hells Angels and the Police down in London. They all ran away and left us in the battle. So they got tailed after it. Get the colours off, beat it, you know.
What, the Sheffield lot?
Aye, we chased them, aye. I slapped the president guy and we all got slapped about and we burnt all our colours in a car park, told them where to get to.
The reputation of the Blue Angels was such that few gangs would take them on, and those that did were subjected to extreme violence and chased back across the border.
Outlaws, they try to come in, but they get sent home to think again, you know. See, what they done was, the English boys, Outlaws, tell Scots boys up here that they spoke to us, and it was all right for them to do it, for it to start a club up north. And it wasn't all right. So they found out the hard way, you know. And it ended up in the papers, or a shit of the day, and all this stuff, you know. And that was recently, you know. I've seen guys getting beat up and the guys have died, put it that way. I've seen violence that turned my stomach, yeah, and put me off. I'm telling you, man, things I've seen just made you sick, you know, and don't want to see that again, you know. And,
no.
But it was always there, at the drop of a hat, at a blink of an eye. My best pal Stone get killed, 77. Ah. That guy was real true. Stood with you in a fight, you know, never ran away. I was fighting one night in Maryhill Road with these guys. They all had knives, about 5 of them. And I had grabbed one of them in front of me, used him as a shield. And the Stone thought I was off. And he was going into a motor, and he says to the driver, "Where's Morrison?" And Stone stood up on the wheel of the motor, and stood up and he looked back. And he said, "Morrison's still fighting," he says, "It's a good day to die." And he's just charged in. And I'm fighting, you know. And I just seen this blackness coming in from my right hand, you know, right on top of these guys with the knives, you know. That was Stone, you know. And we fought with them, and the police came. And they ran away, me and Stone got lifted.
And has there been a lot of Blue Angels die in that 50 years?
Maybe 40 odd, I think. I don't
40?
know. We've got a claymore sword with our names on the sword blades, you know.
So it's like a bit of a family, well, he's a family to you really, isn't it? 50 years of
oh, fuck, aye,
those
man,
people
aye.
around you.
Aye, yeah, family. I suppose I'd die for him, you know what I mean? Without even thinking about it. You know, like in the 60s, you just done what had to be done, or else, you know, give it up, you know.
When did you become less involved in the club?
I mean, pulling away gradually the past few years, you know. As you get older and that, you can't do the same things, you know what I mean? Leave it to the young guys today, you know. But I still party with them, you know, and go wee runs here and there with them and enjoy their company, you know, and I stick my neb in if I think I have to, you know. And I'll be ready to die anyway, you know.
Changes within the travelling community and the increase in violence amongst motorcycle gangs mirror changes within society. In the underworld, gone are the Robin Hood-esque likes of the Cray and Richardson gangs. They have been replaced by materialistic victims of fashion who drive flash cars and are adorned with gold chains. Only the bloody violence remains.
My family come to the UK in the 80s. As a youngster, life was good at home. The lifestyle where we were living basically was just a tough area. You know, growing up in that environment, you're seeing all this drug dealing going on. You see all this, every day there's a police chase, this, that. You know, when your mindset is in that kind of environment, you want to become like certain, you'll have certain figures You'll have a certain person, he's the main guy in the area. So you look at him, he's driving a nice car all the time. You're going to say, I want to have that chain. I want to be like him. I want to drive a nice car. That's your idol now. My parents told me never to do drugs. So I was always against drugs, but they didn't tell me about violence because my dad's always been a fighter. So what happened now is, so they told me don't do drugs, but they didn't tell me about violence and robberies and stuff like that.
How'd you go about robbing a drug dealer? You know, how'd you know he's a drug dealer?
I'll get information from the local lads, so he'll say he's a drug dealer, he does this. So what I'll do is I'll tell that guy to set him up, so I'll give him a cut out of it. So he'll set him up to a certain destination where I'll be waiting, or where a deal is going on amongst two parties, where we'll like go and take all the stash, whatever they got. You know, the drugs, I wasn't bothered about drugs. I was more concerned about the money. Then I started going after bigger fishes. As I started growing older, I was on steroids, I started getting big, so more aggressive. I started robbing older lot, and that's where shit started happening. So that's when I started getting stabbed. People started coming back for me. 2005, I was target of a drive-by shooting. Several shots were fired as I stood in my family home. Luckily, I ducked for cover and I got away uninjured. In 2006, that was a good year, no trouble came my way. 2007, I was stabbed 5 times, and the attackers believed that I was the one responsible for the brother getting shot. 2008 and 2009, between them times, I was axed on the head. I was stabbed 3 times.
The barrage of attacks which Dutch endured were a direct result of him robbing drug dealers. Ironically, the worst of the violence he suffered came from close friends and a relative.
My relative come to my house, so we had a bit of trouble going on from before. So he goes to me, he goes, let's just call it quits now, call it a day. I'm moving, guys, you get me? I'm gonna move on with my life as well. Same as well, we don't wanna have trouble, you get me, what elders had. I go, it's all right. He gave me a hug, and then he goes to me, are you gonna come out later on? I go, yeah, I'll be bottom of my road. One of my mates, and he's come to grab me now, so we went bottom of the road. We used to wait by 24/7. He's a news agent, so we used to be outside there just chilling. They have a spliff or something. So what happened now is, they went past, their car went past, they were in a 5 Series. So they dropped him off around the corner, they come back, they parked across the road by the park. So the back right-hand side passenger, he's opened the door, he said, I'm going for a piss. He left the door open, he come in, he jumped in from the other side. So what happened now is, I could see somebody coming from the side of my eye, but I didn't have a clear vision. As I'm talking to my friend, he's pulled me from the top. So what happened next thing, I just heard something, I got hit on the head. So as I fell on top of him, he's jumped over the railings, he's jumped in to the car, they drove off. My friend tried to chase them, but he couldn't get them. So he's come back, he goes, are you all right, are you all right? So he's trying to phone the ambulance. I go, yeah, I'm all right, man. I just got barred in the head. So I didn't realize I've been axed. So because he's pulled me, he sliced my head. So otherwise, it would have cracked my skull, I wouldn't have been here.
Despite his tender age, Dutch has survived at least 3 serious attempts on his life. Surprisingly, these failed to have a sobering effect upon him. It wasn't until he witnessed the attempted murder of a stranger did he begin to think that he should change his ways.
And I was parked up in this dead road. I had a spliff. And all I seen was a car pulled over in my blind spot. A guy's jumped out, my window was rolled down fully. And the guy's come now with a machete. He was standing next to me. I looked at him and he's just looked at me and he's jumped back in the car. And I thought, who is this guy, man? What is he doing? You get me? He's just come with a machete next to me and he's just gone. He looked at me probably. So what happened is the same car, he drove a bit down and there was another car parked there. What they done is they went to that car, they pulled the guy out, they slashed him. They slashed him across his head, his body. So they left him there. So by the time I come out of my car, I went to him, They were gone. They drove off. So now I've seen this guy, either I was in two minds, should I help this guy or should I just get away? If I try to help this guy, police is gonna come. I'm already on shit. You get me? I might get effed up. So what I've done is, as he's panicking, all he was saying is, brother, help me, my brother, help me, brother, help me. So that time, you know, my heart just sank. So what I've done is I grabbed hold of the guy and I phoned the ambulance. I didn't phone the police, I phoned the ambulance. So I was saying to them, hurry up. They gave me, this person's bleeding, he was losing a lot of blood, and I could see his bones literally. And what happened now is, that time, I just got scared, you know. The guy went into seizure, I started shaking. And as he's gone through a seizure, my heart just, you know, I got so scared that I thought, I visioned myself in that position. I thought, you know, the things I've been doing, you get me, I've been getting away, I've been getting stabbed here, there, whatnot. But imagine I was in that guy's position and there's nobody about. I wouldn't have seen my mother again. I wouldn't have seen my father again. I wouldn't have seen my family again. But this guy, and I can't express it now, what I was going through at the time. And I was feeling scared, you know, I never felt in my life. And all I was seeing, I seen myself in that position, and what I saw was death. That day I got scared. After, you know, the police questioned me and everything, I went home. I went straight home. I went to my mother. First thing I done is I hugged my mother, laid in her lap. Do you get it? I said sorry to her, apologized to her, you get me, for what I've been doing. Because in that guy, I seen my own death.
Events in our lives bring about reflection and change. Witnessing the attack undoubtedly led to Dutch maturing. Despite being in his mid-20s, he's already talking about youngsters and the kids of today being more violent and offering reasons why.
Times have changed now youngsters and that, they don't care about nobody. They'll put one in you in no time. Yeah.
So why do you think that is?
Because that respect, you know, what people had, and the environment they're growing up in now, too many gangs, too much violence. They're growing up, mainly everything comes from mainstream. When they're looking at videos, people getting beheaded, getting killed, this person getting shot. These days, youngsters, like the families kick them out when they're 15, 16. More time they look up to like gang members. A lot of people will look up to me. So they'll say to me, put me on something, put me on drugs, put me on this, like I want to start something off, I want to make money. But I say, I don't do nothing of that. I don't do no drugs. I don't do none of that shit now. So that lifestyle, what I had, it was in the past. So I made mistakes. So I want to change my lifestyle, but everybody looks at you in a negative image. And well, one of my friends, he was in prison as well. He's got done for murder. He's doing 28 years. So his mother's passed away, and his father's old as well now. He had a heart attack. He can't even come out. He's in double cat A. So if you want to live that kind of lifestyle, so your friends are not going to be there. They're not going to come and see you every day. The only people are going to come with your family. And if your family is not even there, who's going to come see you? And that's it, like, you get me? And you're going to live with that regret all your life. So the lifestyle I was living is either prison, 6x9, or 6 foot under the ground.
6,000 years ago, an Egyptian carved into the wall of a tomb, young people no longer respect their parents. This quote illustrates an historically nurtured and culturally damaging phenomenon, the fear of youth. Our distorted perception of young people creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. Why bother to try when you were told that you are a failure? Instead of looking back at our own youth and thinking those were better days, we should open our eyes and celebrate the fact that we are at this moment living what will become our children's fondest memories.